Have you recently lost on ranked and Marvel Rivals? Of course you have, the game's a broken mess at the moment. But me and my friends do have this theory. NestEast, the game's creator, are quite, let's just say, lenient with some of the names you're allowed to have in the game. And we have an idea that people with bad names are really bad at the game. But how can I prove that people with bad names are secretly throwing the game for everybody else? It's quite simple. For the past week, anytime I see somebody with a questionable name, I printed them off using my label maker and putting them on the wall of shame behind me. But how many names did I get in the end in the past week? A lot more than I thought. I've got bloody 50 on here. We've got some strange names on here. We've got the Eggman, who didn't play any characters that were related to eggs.
Who posted my nudes on Twitter?
What else have we got on here? Sloppy Toppy 699. I don't think NetEast really know what that means. Hopefully they don't. The Trusted Fart. He was quite bad. And my favorite, Only Damage. Now he's funny because he did no damage. Now, all of these were quite interesting, but I was quite curious to see how good they were. So I split them up into two categories, good and bad. Now, everybody above this line was good at the game, and everybody below this line was bad at the game. But you might say to yourself, Eamon, how can you tell who's good and bad at the game? I'm not exactly some compare expert, but how I'm doing it is actually storing all the information in a database, recording if they're an attacker, if they're a healer, or if they're a tank. Now, based off this information, I'm putting it all in a nice little table because that makes me happy. Even if I lose the game, putting it in a nice little table gives me a little dopamine hit. Now, all hero shooters should be having 2 healers, 2 tanks, and 2 DPS. This is what I'm judging it off. I don't care if they're like, oh, I saw this weird meta pick. 2 healers, 2 tanks, 2 DPS. Listen, I don't care if you saw this weird cool strat where they would go 1 less healer and 3 attackers. It doesn't work. Literally, we're in gold. We just want to get the win over. These games take like 20, 30 minutes. Please just do your job. Now, basing it off that, I'm getting all of these people's stats. If you're an attack dealer, I'm taking out how much damage you took. If you're a support, how much healing you did. And if you're a tank, how much shielding or right-clicking you've been doing. And comparing it with the 3 other people that were on the board, if you were the top 2, because there should be 4 in total in the game, you get to be in the good category. And if you're not, you're really bad. Basically, you can already see here there's slightly more people in the bad section than the good. But I know what you'll be saying as well. Eamon, what kind of stats can you get from that? Listen, I'm a step ahead of you. I've already got a board filled with data science stats ready to tell you right now. What's the best way of showing this? I might be 1 step ahead here, but I'm also on the floor now. You can see here that the win rate from all the 50 games was a whopping 46%. So the theory of if you have a weird name, you're bad, it's kind of true. I mean, the data here isn't statistically significant because it's too close to the mean, but we don't care because it's making the video quite fun, isn't it? From all the players, hopefully you guys can see this. The average amount of players we had, the 30% were healers, 38% were attackers, and 30% were tank. That's not a surprise that the majority of people with weird names were attackers. The majority of people played this game are attackers. Is it duelist in this game? I'm not calling you duelist. This isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! And finally, let's figure out what kind of damage healing and tanks people are doing. We've got, on average, people are doing 9,195 bits of damage in a compet game, which is dreadful. The healing is a lot better at 16,600, so the healers are doing pretty well, the 30% of them. And the shielding is 17,143. I don't know how the shielding works in Marvel Rivals because I play Venom and I get loads of healing and shielding damage apparently, but I don't even shield anyone. I kind of just run around and try and see how many kills I can get. Now, the last bit I wanted to talk about was who people were picking. Now, I was actually quite shocked when you see this. Number 1 is a healer. It's Cloak and Dagger. People with weird names like, I can't read that one, Skibby Diddy are picking Cloak and Dagger. Sigma was taken, is also picking Luna Snow. What's going on? I know 50 isn't a lot of people, but it should be enough to kind of gauge what's going on here, and this is terrible. So the top 2 are healers, which shouldn't be the case because from my chat logs, you can probably tell that I don't like that people aren't picking healer enough. You got 3rd, that's Punisher. 4th is Doctor Strange. And fifth, we have Magneto. Interesting pick.
Exactly as I expected.
So, based off all this data, getting the average person. So, if you get an attacker who's Punisher, who has a bad name, chances are you're going to get a bad win rate. So, yeah. I actually got this label maker to make fortune cookies, weirdly enough. And now I've got a bunch of weird names written on my board. So, I'm just going to have to peel all these off, which will take me all day.